One of President Obama's senior advisors says the president will lay out a clear plan tonight to move the country forward, and President Obama himself has said several times he wants this to be a year of action. Well, just moments ago, the White House released a new clip of the president working on the speech.
I like it. You know, I think the tone's right. I think the framework's right. If we can just find one or two examples, then I think it'll buttress it.
Maybe you should have trimmed that beard if you were going to be on TV then.
Joining me now, Corey Dade, a contributing editor for The Root, Sabrina Siddiqui with the Huffington Post, and Michael Tomasky, special correspondent for The Daily Beast. Hello, crew. How are you guys?
Hey, Brian.
Great, thanks. Let's get to it. Robert Gibbs on Morning Joe today, and he brought up last year's speech and how dysfunctional Washington, D.C. has become. Have a quick listen.
2013 was a lost year for the president. He was buffeted by crisis after crisis, and I think the test of this speech will be, do the American people that do watch, do they feel like this president has a plan to get some of those things done?
Yeah.
Or is this just another speech out of Washington?
You know, it's a fair point. And listen, this would be a tough spot for any president. So just put that aside, Corey. You know, people watching tonight, they want results. But with all the stuff he's going to talk about and who knows what will actually get done, it's almost impossible to fulfill the goals of tonight.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the things that he'll talk about, to some degree, were talked about in his State of the Union speech last year in 2013, and we saw how well that worked for him last year. As Robert Gibbs just said, last year was a lost year for the president. I think he's still going to try to set the political agenda for the year, but really, you know, he has to be careful here. It's, you know, he's talking about using his executive authority on different issues like the minimum wage, of course, and that takes a page out of the Bill Clinton book in his second presidency, and that actually helped Clinton leave with bigger job approval ratings. But with Obama, you know, don't expect a whole lot of sort of bold promises tonight. He doesn't want to inflame the partisanship divide in Washington and endanger two things: immigration reform and Democrats holding on to the Senate.
You know, Michael, quickly, I'm going to be watching body language and just see if this energy is positive. I mean, aside from, you know, what we just heard, I mean, he's sending a message to the people, and people want to read into that, not only what they hear, but also what they see.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think that he has to exude real toughness and real impatience with what is happening in Washington. I would actually say that I disagree with Corey, respectfully. I think that he should throw down at the Republicans, and I think he should risk being partisan, a little bit partisan, because we all know this, whatever he proposes, whatever he talks about tonight, it's not going to get passed, unfortunately. Maybe there's an outside shot at passing minimum wage, but you know, the House Republicans aren't going to pass anything. He has to set up a framework that he and the Democrats can take into the general election fight in the midterm elections and say, we want to do this, they're blocking us. What voters are you going to do about it? That's what he needs to do.
Sabrina, you want to break the tie?
Well, I'm going to say this. Tonight's speech is unlikely to change the trajectory of the president's second term or even really sway public opinion, but it gives him an opportunity to really reframe his message to the American people and refocus on issues that his administration plans to advance, whether it's through Congress or on their own. The American people aren't just tired of the gridlock in Washington. They're tired of hearing about the gridlock in Washington. So I sort of agree with Michael here. I think that this year of action is what his supporters are looking forward to, kind of seeing what the president can do within his own powers to start advancing pieces of his legislation rather than waiting around for the rare moment when Congress will cease to be dysfunctional.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Corey, you're outvoted, but at the same time, we've heard a lot of leaks from the White House that on immigration he doesn't want to make anyone too mad. So on that particular issue, it seems pretty clear that he's going to try to toe the line a little bit. You know, Sabrina, you talked about one of the biggest moments from last year was when the president spoke about giving victims of gun violence a vote. Let's have a listen to that.
Gabby Giffords deserves a vote. The families of Newtown deserve a vote. The families of Aurora deserve a vote. The families of Oak Creek and Tucson and Blacksburg and the countless other communities ripped open by gun violence, they deserve a simple vote.
You know, it was truly a moment last year. It gave you a little chill. I mean, it was an intense moment, but yet it didn't happen. So is this an issue when it comes to the gun violence? We've had more shootings since. Do you think it will come up again, or is this issue moved on?
Well, I think he certainly might raise it, and he should, because at the end of the day, the White House really did try to do what it could to advance some anti-gun violence legislation. This really came down to Congress not being ready to even expand background checks, despite having the support of 90% of the American people. So, you know, I'm not sure if there'll be another moment like that. He's probably going to focus on the economy. We know he's going to talk a lot about income inequality, but, you know, every day we turn on the news and we hear about yet another school shooting or a shooting at a mall. So this is probably where the executive action comes into play. At this point, he can really just continue to pass modest pieces of legislation to sort of, you know, improve background checks, which he already did, I think, a few weeks ago, and then just turn to executive action rather than waiting around for Congress.
I want you guys to listen to this real quick. Democratic Congressman Becerra just spoke a little while ago about why President Obama needs to use executive orders. Here's that bite.
I think most of us are all for the president doing everything he can to work with our colleagues here, Republicans and Democrats alike, in the House and the Senate, to get things done. But let's get things done. That's why he's president.
Corey, the pen and the phone, what do you think?
You know, that's what he says. We'll have to see. I mean, I know Becerra is one of the leading proponents of immigration reform, and one of the things they want him to do is use his power of the pen, certainly his executive authority, to stop the pace of deportations, which is hitting a record up to 2 million, more than George W. Bush. But the White House isn't inclined to do that. So as much as we, Michael and Sabrina, may want some bold talk tonight, you know, I think he's going to really kind of tightrope this tonight. You got my pronouncer bad. I know, Becerra. You made me look bad. All right, guys, we wish we had more time to talk. We appreciate the Roots, Corey Dade, the Huffington Post, Sabrina Siddiqui, and the Daily Beast, Michael Tomasky.